Hi, I'm McGrath, cabinet maker, and today I'm going to talk a little bit about improvements to my lean construction site organizer. In another video I talked about the lean construction site and I showed the organizing system that I had, both in the truck and on the job site, but since then I've made some improvements to the system, so now I'm going to show them to you because obviously lean is all about continuous improvement. So here you go. Basically here is the organizer that I had before. But there are a lot of little details I've changed to make it more efficient. So I'm going to show them up close because it's easier to see. So here we go. One of the things I did, if you remember, there were two shelves in the middle. And on those two shelves, what I've done is I've put little slots so that all the cordless tools slot in and they fit more efficiently. And they're labeled. The labels, some of them fall off, but they're labeled also so the guy can set them up. And here we've got all the other cordless tools. So you fit a lot more tools on there, and I find by sort of having them upright like that also you can sort of see what you need. The other thing on this other shelf is I put two spots for these two boxes. These are the standard drill bits, and I also put them on, like there's a little stand there, a little block of wood, to angle them a bit, so visually you can see them. They're sitting on an angle, you can see them. Now these go in my 10-volt bag, so I have them all the time when I need it, but I set them up on site like this. So here I have a little thing which clamps on the side. This has got a pencil sharpener, a little box with pencils, and a notebook. And this is what in the lean thing I talked about, your end and cord. These are little red tags. The instructions are that wherever there's a problem, you put a little red tag on it. So those red tags are sitting right there, and that just clamps on the side and sits in the truck. So that's there. This is the box of screws and fasteners. Now when I set this up, this box just goes in the truck, but all the screws needed to assemble an entire kitchen and fasteners are in this box. And just open it up and sit it right in the middle so everything is easily accessible all the time. Here's my box of hand tools, and there again, this box of hand tools just goes in the truck, but when I set it up on site, just plunk it down and it's there where you need it all the time. And down here I've got my jigs for assembly. These are all the various assembly jigs. That's the bag that I put all my 10-volt tools in, so this goes on the truck, but when I set it up on site, I do it here. Here I've got shims and blocking, everything that I would need for that. This one has got extension cords. That's just my bag for 12-volt or 18-volt batteries. And these are all the specialty kitchen tools. The extra tools that I might need, they're all in that box. The nice thing about this system is that if I'm going to job where the installation, a kitchen installation, is going to be more than one day, I set it up on site, and so everything is in one place. You always know where to find it. I've got all the tools up off the floor. Oh, and there was one other cool modification I made. What I found was that the top shelf of this rack, I wanted to keep it low enough so it would slide under a door, so I cut this top rack below 78 inches, so it all slide under a door. But I found the top shelf was a good place to put levels and flat things. Here's the track for my track saw and my carpenter square. But I also found that you couldn't find things once you put them up there if you had a plywood shelf. So I made the top shelf out of plexiglass. So at a glance, you can see, oh, here's my orange level, or here's my 4-foot level. So everything that's up on that top shelf is immediately visible at a glance. So it's never out of sight. So everything you need you can find instantly. I also found it was just easier to hang my nail guns on the side there, just on these hooks. So everything's visible and you can get everything you want exactly when you need it. But the other nice thing is you can move it around. So if you're working in a space like a kitchen, which is confined, you can sort of work on one side of the kitchen and then move it to another side of the kitchen. So it's never getting in your way. You don't have the tools spread out all over the place. You just move it around as you need it, and you move it closer to where you're working or further away. And particularly in kitchens that tend to be fairly confined spaces, it makes a huge difference not to have the tools kind of cluttering, and to have them accessible. The other nice thing about the system is that all of the components, rather than having, I've seen some people have a sort of installation cart, which is well organized, but it's not modular in the sense that you either have to take the whole cart or not take the whole cart, and it's relatively bulky. This whole thing collapses. Every component to the system I can take out individually. So if I were doing a small installation where I was just going to be there for an hour, I would just take my hand tools out of the truck, my 10-volt bag, and I would take the fastener bag. And so all I need is the 3 bags. So I don't need to take the whole system at once. I just take what I need. This is actually made of 2 components. This is a joint in the middle. So if I were doing an installation where I was only going to be there for, say, half a day, but I still wanted to sort of control the mess, I could just take the bottom half of this system and then put maybe the tool bag and the fastener bag and a couple other things. So it's a very flexible system. Rather than having one giant cart, which is the same all the time and has to apply to all jobs, you can sort of tailor it to the installation you have to do and set it up, you know, to reflect the level of complexity of the time you're going to be there. And the whole thing, these boxes just slide into shelves on the truck, so the whole thing can be assembled and disassembled in about 5 minutes. The other thing, and I don't have it here, is I actually have a little guidebook where I photographed what this looks like fully assembled, and it just sits in the truck, and I just give it to my helper, so I don't even set it up. It's like, here's a photograph of what I want, and I just circle it, and even though the setup is only 5 or 10 minutes, I just give it to the helper, and he sets it up, and so even a relatively unskilled person can just take this all out of the truck, set it all up, and everything goes where it needs to be. So I find this is hugely efficient, and hopefully that's helpful. Okay, thank you. Bye.